I'm Nick Carson, the editor of Computer Arts magazine. We're the world's leading design magazine, sold around the world. Branding has always been a really core topic for Computer Arts as a magazine, and it's certainly something that the vast majority of our readers engage in. I think everyone's interested in branding as a topic, everyone has an opinion, but also in terms of their day-to-day design practice. Anyone from an individual freelancer to a major agency will engage in branding in some capacity. So with that in mind, it felt like the logical topic area for our very first industry awards and one-day conference to cover. And we've been working closely with independent design writer and consultant Lynda Relph-Knight on putting both the awards scheme and the conference together and taking it to the next level.
My involvement has come about because while I was at Design Week, I was involved in the development of a couple of very successful and hugely reputable creative awards, one of which involved branding. We're building on that legacy with the Brand Impact Awards, but we're taking it a little bit further.
What kind of USP is setting this particular scheme apart?
Well, the Brand Impact Awards are different in three main ways. First of all, they look at more than one piece of work. It's about consistency of across a whole branding program or a branding campaign, looking at more than three manifestations of the work. It could be a website, a brochure, a t-shirt even. It could be any of those things. So it's looking at consistency on the one hand. The judging is done mainly by creative people on the client side. So it's clients who understand what people have had to go through to get that consistency, how difficult it is. And thirdly, it's judged across market sector. So you aren't comparing a piece of print with another piece of print necessarily. What you're looking at are brands within, say, FMCG or pharmaceuticals, or not-for-profit and all the other categories. So you're looking at a programme or a campaign, not at an individual piece of work.
And do you think that's the kind of approach that designers will respond to and feel that it's a framework that will best show off their work?
Designers will really respond to it because they know that you can do a very beautiful one-off piece of something, but actually the real test is getting it consistent across all pieces. It also means that you have to collaborate with other agencies, but also with your client, because you might get them to buy into one aspect of the work, but to get them to buy into all of it is quite something. So it's actually about celebrating collaboration as well as the great designs that come through it.
A lot of the judges are, as you say, on the client side, which I think sets it apart in quite an interesting way from a peer-to-peer judging setup.
It's very different. It's the same sort of thing that the marketing awards of various sorts do. But in our case, these are creatives on the client side. So they may head the studio, they certainly commission independent designers. But it's the creatives rather than the managing directors and the marketeers.
Sure. So people that understand both sides of the table.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
And then if we talk a little bit about the distinction between branded programmes and branded campaigns, so the Brand Impact Awards are split into these two subcategories, if you like, to try and, similar to the market sector split, to try and differentiate how the branding has been applied. Could you talk through the thinking behind that?
The thinking there is that these days you don't get that many full-blooded branding programs. You do at the smaller end of things, but not so much at the big end. But what you do get increasingly are campaigns. For example, a Marks and Spencer or somebody like that might run a campaign to do with healthy eating. It's not necessarily changing its main identity and logo, but it is running a branded campaign within. But it's something that works across all categories. On the bigger scheme of things, it's a corporate mark rolled out and a tone of voice rolled out.
But between the two categories, we're reflecting branding in its widest sense.
Yes, that's
how it's perceived by the public as well as applied by the designer.